Oh, geez. Uh, so I just got a text message. I picked Dare. Nick, do you mind giving your hand to me real quick?
Fuck you.
No, I just need your hand if you don't mind. It's gonna be quick. Yes.
How close are we to the hospital?
Not far.
Oh, okay.
I can't do it.
You know you're gonna die now. That hammer's going right towards your head. You know, sorry, you're gonna have to bash your own head in.
Maybe after the review. Welcome everybody to a brand new movie review where we talk about Truth or Dare. And this is going to be a very interesting sort of review for you and I, because I'm definitely the horror fan and you are really not the horror fan.
I'm more into comedy and drama, but I wouldn't really classify this as a horror movie.
No, this is a horror movie.
Horror, but I think the reason I liked it so much, psychological.
Okay.
I think there was a lot of psychology to be played in this.
All right. I mean, where do you want to start then with Truth or Dare?
I think it's definitely far-fetched.
Yes.
And I think one thing I didn't like about the movie, because the game took on kind of spiritual, it took on a persona of its own. And what I don't like is they didn't explain it until the way end of the movie. And I think they should have explained that sooner.
Well, this movie, it borrows from a lot of other horror movies.
I will say that, the idea of... The reason I say it's unique is because it took on the spirit of the game. And most movies, it's possession of a person, possession of an object, possession of a thing. This actually took the possession of a game.
All right.
But then you learn it wasn't truly possession it was possession of the game, but then the demon-like figure possessed actual people.
Yes.
And one thing I don't like.
All right.
There's a single demon.
Yes.
So when there's actually, okay, at the beginning of the movie, there's a scene that confused me when I watched the whole movie. She gets bombarded by people. Truth or dare, truth or dare.
Yeah.
And they all have the weird possessed face. Well, that means there would be multiple demons. One demon can't possess 50 people. There was a lot of flaws in this movie, I thought.
There is a lot of flaws in the movie, and I mean, the thing...
Well, describe the movie so they know what it's about.
Well, basically, this girl, I believe she's in college.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Olivia. And basically, her and a bunch of her friends are going on really their final spring break before life really, starts to become more of a reality for them. Jobs and such, all that jazz. And they end up going to Mexico and partying and having a great time. And basically, Olivia ends up meeting this guy named Carter. And they are sort of getting along a little bit. And Carter says, hey, how about all you and your friends come to this little abandoned place and we'll have a good time. They end up playing this game, Truth or Dare. And once Carter ends up getting his turn, he basically says, hey, look, this is a real life or death game here. There's consequences to this. Play the game, do the dares, tell the truth. If you don't do it, you will die. And he just runs off. And now they have to end up, oh my God, this guy is weird. What's going on? This guy's crazy. It's not real. And then slowly but surely they have to come to the realization that this is real and that death is really trying to come for them and they have to try to escape it.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's what the premise is.
And what they show is, which is obvious, you can see the main girl, what happens to her. It's centered around her and her best friend. But pretty much most people die in the movie. There's not a lot of survivors. And what I don't like about this movie is they leave room for a sequel. I don't know how you can leave room for a sequel. They did.
Yeah.
They did. And some horror movies are meant to have sequels, like Halloween and Jason.
Yeah.
But and Michael Myers movie, Halloween, Jason. But this movie is not really doesn't have room for a sequel. And the way they left it at the end, and I'm not going to spoil it.
Yeah.
I just don't know how they're gonna make a sequel.
Oh man, clearly you haven't watched as many horror movies as I have, because they make sequels like you wouldn't believe.
I'm not the horror movie fanatic. Well, it depends how much money this movie makes at the box office.
This is true.
This is a very anticipated movie. They marketed the crap out of this movie.
Oh, they did. They marketed it crazy.
This was a wide release in like every theater in the country. I'm surprised it's being released now and not.
Well, you have to remember. Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah,
Friday. So
yeah, they do release horror movies on the 13th, Friday the 13th.
Does make sense.
I just, the movie had a lot of flaws for me. The directing was wonderful. I really thought he really built a chemistry with these characters. I thought the directing was good. I thought the acting was really good. For fresh faces, I didn't know most of these people. I thought the acting was good. Seth's disagreeing with me right now. I thought the acting wasn't bad. I don't think it was a stellar, Halloween movie like H2O. I don't think it was a Jason movie on that scale, or It. I don't think it's that scale. But for a little horror movie, I don't think it was bad.
All right, let me say something. Jeff Wadlow directed this movie. Now, Jeff Wadlow has directed a few movies. He's directed Kick-Ass 2, not as good as it should have been. Cry Wolf, okay. Never Back Down, all right. None of these movies really get me out of bed in the morning, and neither will this one. Unfortunately, I just don't think it was very well done. Now, this movie is PG-13. And boy, is it PG-13. It is as tame as you can get.
Well, the thing is, they don't show what happens.
They don't show it at all.
When somebody stabs themselves, you don't see the scene.
No,
you see the quick stabbing, and then they go to another scene.
Yeah.
When somebody slits their throat, you don't see it.
No.
They don't show it. No. I think it would have been much better if it was more gruesome and more horrific. I got a rated R because I think if they showed those, it would have been a better movie. As I said, I didn't mind the directing. I didn't mind the acting. The plot. The plot was just not strong enough for me.
Well, I'll say something real quick about the acting. I think the acting is at times, it's very amateurish from some of these actors. At least in my mind, it felt a little bit amateurish, and sometimes it was good. It sort of teetered between the two at times. I will say this much, as far as the PG-13 rating, before I get to the real plot stuff. A movie came out last year that Bob and I reviewed. You can check it on the channel if you want. Happy Death Day. Mm-hmm. And Happy Death Day was PG-13. But they used PG-13 better in that movie because it felt like a very hard PG-13. Like, it felt like if they went a little bit more, it could have been R, but the way they did it was brilliant for the PG-13. Here, at times I thought, man, this movie could be PG. And I'm cool with it. Like,
they didn't show anything.
They didn't show a damn thing. Even things like slitting of the throats or cutting out of tongues. There was I was thinking, oh, we're actually gonna see something, or there's gonna be real blood. Yeah, there was nothing here. So it was very tame. As far as the plot, the problem with this movie in particular is the rules get really complicated at times.
That's what I'm saying. That's a major. Remember, it says flaw. That's a major flaw. What they're following the game, and then the game suddenly changes on you. Well, that changes the whole dynamic of the movie. You can't set somebody up for the movie and then they change the whole dynamic. It's like, I don't like this. It was a major flaw for me.
It was for me too, and it's like, okay, well, and I get it to a certain degree, like, okay, well, they're saying truth too many times, and it's got to get to a dare. I understand that, but like certain rule changes, it felt like, okay, we're just changing them for the sake of changing them. Like, again, this movie, to me, the premise of it feels a little bit like a movie like It Follows, where in It Follows, it's the idea of, it's almost like the idea of a sexually transmitted disease. Whereas in this, it's you pass it on to somebody by playing the game, so it is almost like a disease that you pass on. Again, it takes that element from a movie like It Follows, or something like the fact of death is coming for them, almost like a Final Destination thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's taking from better movies and trying to put its own spin on it, and I don't think it's nearly as successful as those ones.
And the chronological timeline was way off, and I'll explain that in a second. Harry Potter gets away with messing up their whole timeline because it's a fantasy movie. Sure. This, you have to be realistic. Remember the point in the movie where the woman who's the grandmother, the Spanish woman?
Yes.
Okay. What did the paper say about the date when that happened? 1896.
No, did it?
1896. So if that happened in 1896 and it's 2018, she'd be dead. So they kind of mess up the timeline a little bit.
Okay.
That's what really annoyed me.
Well, nobody's perfect, but it's like, oh boy, yeah, that is bad. Boy, you paid attention to that more than I did. I was honestly, I was zoning out in this movie. I'm not gonna lie. And another thing about it, I felt that
you were looking around at the movie. You weren't even looking at the movie. You were looking at other people in the movie theaters to see their reactions. And it just, to me, some of the dares and some of the stuff that did it, okay, well, somebody's on top of a roof and they're drinking. It wasn't risky enough.
Or somebody's gotta have sex with the other person, and then
which is not risky enough.
It's not risky.
I mean, I played Truth and Dare, and a lot of the Truth and Dares is go have sex with this person, or one of the dares was go have a bottle of alcohol in your hand and walk in your boxers on the roof. I mean, they're not really scary dares.
They're not scary dares. And this movie definitely feels like, you know what this movie feels like? It almost feels like a movie that if you're entering into, if you're a young teenager and you're entering into the horror genre for the first time, this is a movie that maybe you could watch. But I think a movie that I saw last year with Bob, something like Wish Upon, is a much better entry into the horror genre for somebody to get into, like a teenager, more than this, because this is so damn tame, man. This is
not just tame. I mean, I liked certain parts of it. Other parts, I hate to say, use this word, stupid. It's stupid. I felt dumbed down. And when I go to a movie, unless it's a comedy where, you want a comedy to make you feel funny, a little dumb, whatever, comedies do that. But when a movie's trying too hard and they make you feel stupid because they're trying too hard, I don't enjoy it.
I don't enjoy it either. And again, the stupidity angle of certain things, how many times did, Olivia and Marquis' friendship, change in the drop of a hat? Okay, I told you this incredibly thing I shouldn't tell you, and now we're not friends anymore. Or I slept with your boyfriend and now we're not friends anymore. And now we're back to being friends, but then I told you an even bigger secret and now we're not friends anymore. And it's just and then the thing that happens at the end, I won't spoil it because we're not going to spoil it, but man, that is incredibly irresponsible. Oh man, that is, I get why, but I'm God damn, that is you now have just fucked over a lot of people. I won't say what, you just literally fucked over.
But that they stole from the TV show Wisdom of the Crowd, by the way, which is off the air now. It was on the air. They did something like that with Wisdom of the Crowd, with the Truth and Dare game.
Oh, I was thinking there's also something similar, I think, in the movie Pulse, too. There's something similar to that.
What I don't like about this, I did say it was you think out here, but now that I think about it, because I've seen a lot of horror movies, I have.
Okay.
I think this just stole from so many movies.
Yes, it did.
And when you don't have an original concept and you keep taking from this movie and that movie, you have to have a flow of ideas. And if you're going to try to have an original concept, you got to have scarier dares. You got to have more original dares. If I go to a movie, I don't want a Truth and Dare game to be more tame than a Truth and Dare game I play myself.
Exactly. And that's the problem here. I mean, it's the major problem. And look, This movie is done up by Blumhouse Pictures, and Blumhouse makes a lot of horror movies like Get Out and Split
And Get Out, wasn't that an won awards or something?
yeah, it's an amazing movie. And then you have, of course, they've done the Purge movies and all this other stuff. They're a great horror studio that does great horror films, but this ain't one of them. I ain't gonna lie.
Every studio is gonna have a flop.
They're gonna have flops. I mean, I think
Let's face, this was done for a favor. Probably a young screenwriter. They did a favor for him.
I will say this much. I think this movie's gonna make a decent amount of money. I think people will see it. But does that make it a good movie? No, not necessarily.
It's not going to put, for me, when I look at movies like comedies, I have my vault. I say, okay, these are movies that, just like Disney has a vault, these are movies that are classics that are going to live on decade after decade.
Yeah.
Horror movies like Halloween, the Jason movies,
Texas Chainsaw
Massacre, Saw, those movies live on. This, for being a horror, is not going to live on.
No.
This will be popular for a little while. Nobody's going to be talking about this in 2-3 months.
No.
I don't think it's going to sell a lot of DVDs. It's not a movie that's catchy. There's nothing about it that makes it spectacular. Nothing stood out. The acting was okay. I mean, I liked the acting. I liked directing, but it wasn't, as I said, if you compare it to a movie like It, or Saw, or Jason,
or Nightmare on Elm Street,
or anything like that, which had a coherent plot and had wonderful acting, this falls short.
It does, and I will say this. I think the characters, I never got invested in any of these characters, and I felt the characters that were very shallow at times, and were very bland at other times, too. I felt like when I saw these characters and I ended up like trying to get to know them in the movie and everything, I honestly could care less if any of them lived or died.
What they did too much, and they made the fatal mistake a lot of horror movies, they based the chemistry on two friends, and they ignored the other actors.
Well, that's true, too.
They put too much basis on those two people, and the rest were just supporting roles, and they really should have been bigger roles, and they really there wasn't enough of a storyline.
There wasn't enough of a story here. The characters, a lot of them got shortchanged. The acting is touch and go. Again, it's one of those movies that I think there's a lot of better movies out there to watch, a lot of better horror movies out there to watch. Even stuff on Netflix is a hell of a lot better than some of this.
I like the psychology of the game. That's what I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I liked a little bit of psychology, how it shows the questions they have to ask, the little psychology, what the Asian kid had to tell his father,
sure,
or what she had to tell her friend about the other friend's father,
sure,
different things. I like the psychology of the movie. When I see a horror, that's why I love the Saw movies, because of the psychology. So because of that, I did enjoy the psychology. For the horror, no. This was, as I said, because it was PG-13, even though you say it's horror, it's not really a horror movie. It's more psychology. It was more a psychological. They should have aimed this for a psychological thriller than they did horror, because this wouldn't be in the horror category.
Well, it is in the horror category, but it's not good horror. It's flat and it's lifeless, and it really doesn't do a damn thing for me. And I think for most of the horror fans out there, the hardcore ones, the diehards, it's not going to do much for them either. So what are your final thoughts and grade rating on Truth or Dare, sir?
As I said, the directing wasn't bad. I know you're not a fan of the acting. I like the acting. I think because of the flaws, because of the weak plot, because fatal flaws that horror movies should not make, that, they should learn better, I'd have to probably say B-.
Wow, okay, you're being kind. Now
one thing I was going to say, don't go to the movie. You don't have to see this. But if you want to, if you're a horror, whatever, just wait until it comes out on DVD.
Now for the hardcore truth.
Well, you're the expert.
I've seen a shit ton of horror movies. I have a crap ton of them on DVD and Blu-ray. I love horror. I'm a diehard horror fan. This movie doesn't do it. I don't care if you like PG-13 horror movies, that's fine. I sometimes like PG-13 horror movies. Happy Death Day works. A movie like Wish Upon from last year works. This does not work. It's like I said, it's flat, it's lifeless, it's unoriginal, it steals from far better horror movies out there. This is gonna be in about 6 months to a year's time, it's going to be forgotten. And
Basically, it'll be at the dollar bin at Walmart.
it will be at the $5 bin eventually at Walmart. And, I could, I'll wipe my ass with the DVD cover. I really don't care. It's really bad. Again, psychological stuff does work a little bit. I will give you that. And beyond that, I can't give it any other major recommendation. This gets a D- from me.
Oh wow,
This gets
we're
a
like
D-.
several grade ratings.
This gets a D- from me. This thing is a turd that needs to be flushed down the toilet and fast. And that is my grade rating.
I think Seth is getting angry. And he got a hammer in his hand. I'm getting a little bit scared.
I got a fucking hammer in my hand.
I'm getting a little bit scared.
Yeah, no shit. So
we might turn into a horror movie the second in this garage.
You're damn right. So look, guys, let us know what you think about the movie. Did you like it? Do you agree with me, or do you agree with Nick? Let us know. And yeah, about that hand. I really don't want to die, so there's really no other choice here.
Okay, you can break the hand.
I can?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, shit. Damn it. Oh, all right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. Definitely give it a thumbs up. And we will be back next time, or, well, I may be dead, but we'll try to be back next time for another movie review. Take care, guys.